protecting your land and the most valuable assets. So um, I think it was Mo who touched upon buildings and contents insurance. Most of you, when you purchase a property, the buildings insurance, if it's freehold, you have to take that insurance. It's painful. Sometimes you think, £40, £50 a month, what for? But you need it in case things go wrong. Contents insurance, even if you are renting, is quite a useful thing to have. I remember a few years ago when I lived in a flat and someone left a pot up in the top floor flat on, caught fire, and the fire went down and went down, and of course all the contents were destroyed. So how much stuff have you got in your homes? How much money have you spent in stuff in your properties? Quite a lot, if you really add it all up. So that 30, 40, 50 pounds doesn't end up seeming that terrible because of what it's actually covering you for. And then you have landlord's insurance, which is used when you have a buy-to-let property to secure that property as well. And just getting these right, getting the right cover for what you're covering for is really important, because as with insurance, many times when you want to claim, they check to say, are you covered for the right thing that you're trying to claim for? Most claims that aren't successful in the insurance world are because people are trying to claim for what they're not really covered for. And I'm excited about a new book that I've written, which talks about some of these enemies of why we don't do things certain ways and how they actually come to bite us in our pocket where it hurts us. So it's just important to just sense check, is this the right thing for what I'm paying for? Even if it's an extra £2, if you pay £5 less for something that's the wrong cover, when you need it, it's not going to cover you, is it? So just do make sure that you check that out. So, I'm really here to talk about you. If you have a business, how many of you have businesses here? Yeah? You've got indemnity, liability, public liability, all the things that can go wrong, and you cover that. If you have a car, how many of you have had accidents before? I was counting how many accidents. I said, hey, is it me who's a bad driver or what? Because I've had, I think, a few more than other people, None of them were my fault, but, I've had them, and thank God I'm alive. But yeah, every time I'm ever so grateful I've got car insurance. How many of you have insured your mobile phones or your cameras? It's worth it. Your phone is important. Most of us earn with our phones, yeah? You communicate, you do your deals with your phone, but actually, what about you? How many of you here have covered your life, yourself? Yeah? Fantastic. I like this to show up. These are people who are thinking about it. You'll be amazed that statistically a lot of people don't actually have cover on themselves because we don't see ourselves as that valuable. I don't know what it is. And on top of just being covered, are you actually adequately covered? Have you got the right cover for what your needs are? You are the most valuable person in your life, in your family's life, in your business's life. And so it's so important to really take time to sit down with someone and assess what dangers, what risks you're exposed to, and whether you're adequately covered. A little thing like a flu, a toothache, a foot that's sore can cause you to lie down for a whole week and not be able to make anything work. You are that machine that's making absolutely everything work in your life. Now, we were talking earlier about the blessing of the NHS. We're in a country, the United Kingdom, which actually has a fallback system. We've got state benefits, right? And here are some of them. Current state pension, statutory sick pay is £109.40 a week, bereavement allowance. They care about you as a nation. There's something to fall back on if things go wrong. Attendance allowance, disability living allowance, and these are fantastic and wonderful things that are in play. How many of you have ever needed to be on any of those benefits? I'm raising my hand up high. Yeah, I've been on benefits. Have you? Yeah? It's good to have it, but when you come out, you're just like, I can't wait to get out of here, because you have to let them know, what are you spending on? You have to file every week. Are you still qualifying? Or what's your budget? They're quite intrusive into your finances to make sure you're still eligible for this. And I remember a time, that's when I thought, no, this is actually a trap and a prison, where I was saying to myself, I can't earn that much bonus, because if I earn too much bonus, I will come out of the benefit system. Do you know that? You start to try to play under the radar, capping your potential, so that so that you can qualify for free money. No, and for me, that was it. I was like, get me out of here. So whilst the chips are down, it's such a beautiful thing to have in play. But actually, many people even stay with the regular job. I know a lot of people in the healthcare profession, nurses, they're scared to come out because they think, what about my sick pay that I get from work? Well, I won't get it if I step out. And yet, actually, you can pay for it yourself and enjoy that freedom that you potentially will have working for yourself, depending on your scenario, the increased income, by actually just sitting down and putting that stuff in place. So life cover is one of the, Alan said death and taxes are the only certain things that are there. Unless Christ comes back soon, which he may very well at the rate we're going. But, we're all going to leave this earth. And level term versus decreasing term cover is typically for your borrowings. Level term will keep pace with, say, an interest-only mortgage, whilst the decreasing term policy is something for your mortgage that's going to end at a certain time and place. And I love a very cost-effective way of getting life insurance, especially if you've got children, is the family income benefit plan. It doesn't cost a lot of money, but it also helps give your family options when you're no longer there to manage that money effectively and efficiently. How many of you have ever received money from a life insurance policy? Anybody? Yeah? It's not the nicest of scenarios. You're emotional. It's come from a bad place. You've lost someone you've loved and you've come into some money. So there's all sorts of guilt that might be associated with it. So you're quite vulnerable at that time, but suddenly you've gotten a windfall and it's a lot of money. And I think statistically, last time I was looking, that money, it's almost like a lottery win. In a few years' time, most people, when you go back to check if that money is there, it's actually gone. Because guess what? Bamnino will say, do you know what? There's stands that are being sold in Africa. You can come and do farming. Things that maybe your loved one was dreaming about, and you think, let me, Uncle, Dad wanted this, and you go into it and you're none the wiser. And that money disappears. Am I lying? You've seen it happen. Yeah? So a family income benefit allows you to get that money steadily. So if it's your spouse, that £2,000 a month they were bringing in, it keeps coming in on a regular basis, and we set it up at onset so that it keeps pace with the cost of living, inflation-proofed. If you've got young children, it's nice to know that regular money is coming in so you don't feel so alone, You can choose to have it paid annually or monthly, and it's very cheap. Like I said, it's a cheap way of getting life insurance, and it's also available for critical illness side of things as well. Earlier we were talking about health. Your health is your wealth. Sadly, some of us, statistics, 1 in 2 in our lifetime might get one of the big allergies. We are living in a world where everything is so fast-paced. We don't look after our health. We're running around. We're not getting enough sleep. And these lifestyle illnesses can catch up with us at some point. And critical illness cover is that a lump sum or a sum of money that allows you to have a level of peace of mind when your chips are down. What is money without your health? What is money? You'll sell everything you have to save your life, won't you? Am I right? Or some of you are saying, honey, you're going to have to go first before we get rid of the car. But yeah, so it's just putting things, when you're okay, when you're well, putting a few pennies aside to cater for the unforeseen things that could happen. A whole of life insurance, typically people use it for funeral expenses, for IHT planning, which Alan and Ben do in our team. And then some of you have businesses. How many of you have businesses that you've set up with family members, brothers, sisters? Anybody? No? Hey, good. Some of you, the rest of you, you don't work well with family, eh? Yeah. But, some of the reality of that is you put some money into a business, someone else puts in 20,000, 50,000. You start a business together, and the other partner dies, and they are still have equity in the business. So you surviving person, you could have to be carrying a dead person's family because they have a share, half the business, when they're not working in that business anymore. Ah, does that sound right to you? No. So things like keyman insurance, some relevant life insurance, those type of policies, when you come and sit down with us and we look at your scenario, we make sure that we take care of those situations and say, look, you want to be able to buy out that person's family so that you carry on without it. And they're tough conversations to have. How many of you like to talk about life insurance? How many of you had that conversation on the dinner table with the family? It's one of those things that you just need to set up and live. It actually gives you a level of peace of mind. Sometimes the running around and the anxiety of trying to do that is because you're anxious to say, what will I leave for my children? Actually, if you go today, maybe your children will financially be better off because you've got good cover in place. And you might not have achieved some of the things that you dream of achieving, but having the right sort of cover in the right areas can give you a level of security whilst you're still aspiring for whatever it is that you want to accomplish. So this is the value of doing a review. You'll find those people who came early have a workbook. Please take out your Understanding Money workbook. Again, well done for coming to this conference. Money is one of those things that it's taboo to talk about. We don't talk about money. We don't want to talk about how much we're earning, it's a bit of a sensitive area. And actually, this workbook was designed with you and your family in mind to actually sit down and look at the numbers and just get a little real, just to have a reality check. And there's a section in there on the protecting element, which asks you a few questions. I'm trying to think of the page. Who's got a copy that they can give me? Just want you to quickly have a look at this before we go off. It's on page 39. I just want you to take a minute right now. This is your workbook. You're going to be working on it. It's just a standard. I mean, I don't want to teach you to suck eggs. I know a lot of you know these things, but it's just to focus you on your money. If you can just take a few minutes and just tick those questions. Yeah? If you were to die unexpectedly today, would your family be able to meet their financial commitments without your income? Yes, no, maybe. If you're a homeowner, would your partner or family be able to pay off the mortgage if you died? Yes, no, maybe, not sure. If you're out of work for more than 3 months due to an illness or injury, would you or your family be able to maintain your current monthly expenses or standard of living? Just take it. It's yours. No one's going to take your work. It's for you and you alone, your eyes only. And it just highlights why it's important just to do that sense check. Life is so busy. Before you know it, you get married, you have children, the children, you're getting a promotion, getting a job, you lose some benefits of some work. You used to get sick pay cover at work. You're now in a new role. The role doesn't give you the income protection anymore. So it's something that I would say to somebody, at least once a year, just have a sense check of what have I got? Am I still covered? And if you look at, there's a theme I call building a strong financial house. If you're imagining yourself building a house, your protection is like the foundation of a house. You know the story of the 3 little pigs. I'm going to come and huff and puff and blow your house down, When the storms of life hits, it allows you to be able to remain standing during those really tough and difficult times. So please, if I give free advice on insurances, on protection. If you don't like me or you don't like my face, find an advisor somewhere that you can sit down with and just have that conversation. I'm so passionate about it because I know a lot of us have come from abroad. We've come to find a better living here, Some of us have had children here, and there's little things like a life insurance, a trust that you can put in place that mean that the next generation don't have to start with that little suitcase that you came with years ago. Just those few minutes, that 30-minute conversation and planning can make a world of difference in your legacy. The Bible says that a rich man, a wise man leaves an inheritance for their children's children. So please, let's put these things in places. Let's try and avoid and stop these GoFundMe to bury someone. What's happening to the children after the GoFundMe has taken the body back home? You know, um, it's and we can do it. We were talking earlier about, but I'm fine today. I'm fit. I have no problem. Yeah, that's the best time to get cover, because once there's something wrong with you, it's gonna cost you more. And life insurance. So some people always say to me, Tendayi, so after I've paid for 15 years or 20 years, I don't get anything back. Yeah. If you don't get an accident in the year with your car insurance, that many of you are paying 50 to 100 pounds a month, does the car insurance give you a refund? No. You're paying 10 pounds for 400 pounds worth of value. How much money are you bringing in every year? What's your annual salary? How much is that worth to your family's life? So please, let's sort our foundations out, and everything else that we do, like Alan was talking about, the investments, the properties, the businesses, the will is the ceiling, or tax and everything, it falls under this foundation here. I don't know if anyone has got any questions for me. I've tried to make that quite quick. Go on.
With the life insurance, can that be put into a trust?
Yes.
The trust that
Sam was
mentioned
talking about
previously in the event of your...
Yes. So that's something that we would do for you as well. We recommend that we do put them in trust, so that you're sure where you want your money to go, and it's set up and clear. I remember hearing not long ago actually, a scenario where someone had been married, and one of the spouses went off with somebody else, and they were separated. And we have a lot of blended families these days. I come with my child, and we come together and we start a new family. And sadly, the party who had remained and had been left passed on, but they hadn't put the policy in trust. Guess who got the money? The person who went away with somebody else. Guess what they did? They took all the money. Guess who? The person who died, their other child from the other relationship, didn't get nothing. So really, sometimes you can do a half job and not tighten the ends of and leave an even worse mess than you intended to. So it's important. It's an important conversation to have, even amidst couples, to say, honey, we've got 4 children. If I go, what's going to happen? Shall we put some of the money in trust for the children? If you remarry, what's going to happen? It's not a nice conversation because we all love each other, but it's once in a while. Have it, be open about your finances, have that conversation, and you start to feel peace as you move over and plan together for the journey. Thank you.